Hey everybody, I'm Terry Records, and at the request of some of my friends, they are asking me how to do meetup groups. And what happened with me is I relocated to Southwest Florida just over 4 years ago, and always been in real estate, but didn't know anyone. And I had tried meetups in Bozeman, Montana. They didn't work real well. But I'll tell you what, in Southwest Florida, they worked amazing. I manage probably 10 or 12 meetup groups right now. And I've been able to create a thriving real estate business from my meetups. Recently, I'm starting to do some online coaching. And I've kind of figured that out as well, how to work it with online. So I'm going to kind of give you my secrets and of what I know. I don't know everything there is to know about meetups, but they can be an inexpensive way to hook up with the community around you. So if you are in a community, I believe the number is about 100,000 people. Generally, it probably is going to work well. For example, when I was in Bozeman, Montana, the population was probably a lot smaller than that, and so that was why I didn't find it quite as good. But we're actually right here, it works real well. And so what you're going to do is I'm going to start sharing my screen. I'm going to go over to my computer and share my screen and kind of navigate a little. And let's see what I can do here. Not my Zoom screen. One sec. So what you're going to go is you're going to go to meetup.com, and if you haven't done that before, like I said, you just go to meetup.com, and it's going to navigate. You're going to enter a profile. So it's free to do so. So upload a picture of yourself and create your profile and tell people what you want them to know about you. And then it's going to prompt you to go in and find things that you're interested in. So put in all the different things. If you like to travel, whatever you like to do, check as many as you can, because then it will help sort and give you the things that you want to see. So for example, I'm sitting in Fort Myers, Florida right now. So in dialing in, it says Terry. I've already put my profile in, so it's going to give me within 25 miles of Cape Coral, Florida, or I could change that if I want to go to Minneapolis, St. Paul. I just changed my zip code to 55105, and so I actually would research if I want to find the groups that are in St. Paul, Minnesota, so it would bring up those things, those groups in that area. So some of us with our businesses, we are national, and we can be in different places. So I'm actually launching my coaching business to be in all over the United States, and so you can see I actually have a St. Paul, Minnesota. I have two meetups, Minnesota to Southwest Florida, real estate information and investors, or should you rent it, flip it, or run. And so those relate to what I'm trying to accomplish with my meetups. But I can go in, and they're suggesting other meetups to me. If I want to find something on travel in that area, I would just put the word travel in, and it's going to bring up in Minneapolis, St. Paul area within 25 miles, or I can change that radius up to 100 miles of St. Paul, groups that are meeting. And then I can just kind of go into these groups and see what's going on. And so what you would do is Travel Buzz has 519 members. And so, so is it a good group? I don't know. 519 tells me they're doing something. And the good thing is they have 51 past meetups. So I could request to join that by just being here. And so what are you hoping to get? If the organizer wants you to answer questions, they'll have you answer those questions here. Sometimes the organizers automatically let you in. Sometimes they do not. But you can kind of get a feel for the kinds of events that are going on in a meetup, and you can get a feel for some of the members that are here as well. They may post pictures, and you can go in and look at their calendar of events that are past and see what did they do in the past, or do they have any upcoming events. A lot of the people who run meetups, like this one, they don't have an upcoming event. And so what's the motivation for somebody? There's nothing posted in the calendar for them to find. So they're not going to grow their group very fast. what happens when you create your first group. So number one, let's finish that up. Let's go back and say you want to join as many groups that are about your group, or maybe for your business, you want to sleuth a couple groups. So just join them, and then go on some events. And the point about Meetup is Meetup wants people to meet up with people. They want people to be having events where people get to know each other and interact. And that's the point of a Meetup. So if you're just doing something and you're not creating an atmosphere where they can hook up and meet each other and provide that opportunity, Meetup's not going to like that. So basically, so let's go back here. Let's find a different one. So they have no upcoming meetups. Let's keep looking and see what else we find here. I'm going to go back, and I don't know why I'm in Minneapolis, St. Paul, but I am. You could search anything. So anyway, so that's kind of how that goes. Now, so ways you can create more business is you just go to a bunch of meetups, and then you're going to meet members there. What I found is in the beginning when you host your own meetup, so then the other thing you can do is create your own meetup, which I created. A lot of them, mine are, of course, are about real estate because that's what I do for a living. And so I've got 2,800 members in 9 groups in one country. And so I actually upgraded to a pro membership. You don't have to do that. I think you're allowed 3 meetups per email. So for a while I had 5 different emails, and I had 3 groups on this email and 3 groups on that email. Meetup will censor you if you use your email. If you're using an email that's not registered for the group, the organizer can use their email. So you have to be careful of that. They will censor some things like that. But you can do it, and it's not, I think it was like $80 for 3 or 6 months. I can't remember. A pro membership is about $30 per group per month. I did transfer over to that recently. My meetups, these are my 9 groups. I think they're going to come up here. Yeah. Oh, these are some of my people. So now when I transferred into this group, I have one that's a dog lovers group, a travel group, and then I have a lot of my real estate education groups, and it'll tell you how many people RSVP'd and that kind of a thing. Those are my members. Actually, the pro membership gives you analytics. I don't even know exactly what that is, but you can see some of my groups have 400 members, 800 members, but you know what? I started out with no members. And when you start a group, you start with none. And what you do is you create an event, and you hope somebody comes. And until you get about 200 people, nobody's going to be there consistently. So you may have a good show or you may not. You may want to invite your friends. And so what I found, though, the problem most people, what they do is they start a meetup, and they have 20 people and 5 people RSVP, and then nobody comes, and then they get discouraged and they quit holding their meetup. And it's a numbers game. Meetups are some people. I think I had a networking one a couple weeks ago. I invited them to a networking group. I had like 15 RSVPs and 3 showed up. That's okay. I'll tell you what, if I get 1 new client out of each meetup, I'm happy. I'll do my song and dance and teach my education all day long. And if I get 1 or 2 clients from that appointment, from that meetup, I'm happy to meet 1 or 2 new people. But what I find is if you keep providing things that are of value, they keep coming. And so what I do on mine is I do real estate education. So I'll teach them whatever it is that they need to know. I did a field trip here to Babcock Ranch. I did a tour looking for buy and holds. I did a parade of foreclosures. I did all kinds of things. Whatever the public wants, give it to them in an interesting way, and they'll show up. And the more you do, the more you get to a threshold where more and more people join your group. But if you don't have things planned, there's nothing for them to come to, so you don't have a threshold. So for a while, I didn't work on my dog meetup or my travel meetup. And so I started posting some events there this week. And so I've had a lot of people joining that group. And so I will meet more people with that. So just be consistent and don't give up. So sometimes, is my main thing. And the more things you plan, the more likely. So like I said, I did about 70 seminars a year, but you also have to understand when you do these meetups, most people, they will search based on the default setting that came up. So remember when I turned it on to begin with, it says, show me things that are within 25 miles of my house. So that's how most of them are looking. So what I ended up doing is I created the first one that was more local around where I was in Cape Coral, Fort Myers. And then I'm like, oh, well, Bonita and Estero and Naples, they probably aren't going to join the Cape Coral, Fort Myers one. So I created one there. And then I created one for another city. And so I post the same events on all three of them, and I just move my locations around. I don't do it 3 times. I do one event, post the same event in multiple locations. And that's worked really well. And sometimes I'll go down to Naples and do an event or do a rent flipper run tour down there or whatever. And so I'll have people come from all different areas, but they won't join every single group because they're farther away. So when you make those groups, you make sure you assign that zip code, the zip code of that location. Like if I want to put one in Minneapolis, St. Paul, I go to 55105 because that's the heart of St. Paul. And then I would plan my meetup to get those people there. But you should have boots on the ground and do some live events. The really cool thing, though, I did find out, I wasn't sure I could do this. Let me see if I can find one. Is these are people, not set groups. All right, here's some groups. So Cape Coral, Fort Myers. So this group, now see what I have is my 5 proven strategies to find money to invest in real estate. And so what I wasn't sure is if they were going to allow me to post this. And what happened is it was still hyperlinked. Here's the information. They can apply for a call with me. But I did have in the copy, here it is, the Terry and Jason this, and it is hyperlinked. And I had people from my meetup sign up for my webinar today. So that was pretty cool. But you wouldn't want to do them all the time. So for example, I just started, should you rent it, flip it, or run in Denver and in Minneapolis. And I do have agents that are working with me there so they can do live events. And then I will do webinars to support them with the business, and I'll earn commission on it. Referral fees, because I'm providing a lot of meat for their meetup that will cause more people to come. So anyway, it's a pretty exciting thing. It's, a lot of people don't even know this feature is here, but it's pretty cool. And I hope you take advantage of it. Whether you create your own meetups or you go to events, it's a really great way to network. And I just thought I would share it with you. Have a great day. I'm Terry Records at terry.records, Terry with a Y, and I'm not a guy, .records, RECORDS @gmail.com. If you're not in my mailing list, send me an email. I'd love